Morning broke over Ojalegba like a stubborn bulb. Flicker, flicker, then full light. Under the bridge, where the city kept its forgotten people, Ezekiel folded his daughter's small blanket and shook the dust out with a gentle snap. Welcome to Nigerian Folktales. Subscribe for fresh content, and let's explore the richness of tales. Join our community of like-minded story lovers. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment for new stories every week. Thanks. Let's know where you are watching from in the comments section. Rise and shine, superstar, he whispered. Blessing, 7 and bright-eyed, blinked up at him. Daddy, is today Saturday? Every day is Saturday when you don't have school fees, he joked, then kissed her forehead. But yes, today is Saturday. He had a way of turning hunger into humor. It didn't fill the stomach, but it kept the heart alive. Ezekiel was tall and lean, the kind of lean you earn from skipping meals for someone else. His eyes were the only luxury on his face, sharp, curious, always learning. Once upon a time, before life bulldozed his plans, he'd studied codes and computers. These days, he solved different kinds of puzzles. Where to get water, how to keep blessings safe, how to understand the heart of a city that moved too fast. Traffic thundered above, below. The morning market warmed up. Hustlers, hawkers, tired conductors, the smell of akara frying, and the chorus of survival. Blessing clutched her plastic cup. Daddy, can we buy Puff Puff later? By faith, he said. And maybe by small change. That was when she arrived. The kind of entrance even the sun adjusted for. A black SUV rolled to a halt near the curb, and the door opened like it had pride. Rita stepped out in high heels that spoke louder than most people. She wore a crisp white shirt, gold earrings, and the air of someone who expected doors to open before she knocked. Phone to her ear, she barked. Listen, I don't care what the bank said. I need that transfer cleared today. Payroll is Monday. No, I'm not interested in excuses. I am the CEO, not the complaint department. Her tone cut through the noise. A hawker tried to sell her bottled water. She waved him away without looking. A little boy pushed a wheelbarrow too close to her shoes. She frowned like it was a crime. Blessing tugged her father's sleeve. Daddy, that auntie is talking like she's the president. Ezekiel smiled. Maybe she is. Everyone is president of something. What are you president of? Today? I'm the president of finding breakfast. Rita ended the call with a sigh that suggested the world had failed to meet her standards again. She stood there, glaring at her phone, thumbs flying. Notifications popped up like mosquitoes. Another call. Another sigh. Ezekiel only noticed the problem because he never stopped observing. He saw her screen flash with a message whose grammar smelt like trouble. Urgent. Your company account flagged. Send 6-digit verification code to restore access. Reply now. A classic scam text wearing a cheap tie. He stepped closer, keeping his voice calm. Madam, please, don't reply that message. Rita lifted her eyes slowly, like someone acknowledging a waiter at a 5-star restaurant. Excuse me? The message, he pointed gently. It's a scam. If you send the code, they'll sweep your account clean. Even your shadow will be broke. Her look hardened into glass. Do I look like someone who needs advice from a man sleeping under a bridge? A few passers-by glanced over. Blessing's fingers tightened around her cup. Ezekiel didn't flinch. He had met pride before. It never paid rent. No, Ma, you look like someone who's busy. And busy people make fast mistakes. I just thought. You thought wrong, she cut in. I run a company. I know what I'm doing. Companies fall for this every day, he said softly. They ask for your code, then poof, your money grows wings. She scoffed. Thank you, Mr. Bridge, but I have real bankers to speak to. She turned away, but her phone buzzed again. Reminder, send code now or account will be suspended. Her jaw tightened. She typed quickly, irritation burning behind her lashes. "Daddy," Blessing whispered. "Is the auntie in trouble?" "Not yet," he murmured. "But she's very close to oops." Rita looked back at him, almost daring him to speak again. He did gently. "If they are real bankers, they won't pressure you on SMS. Call the official number on your bank card, not the one in that message. Don't share any code that comes to your phone. That code is for you, not for them." Her laugh was short. "You read a blog, and now you're a consultant?" "Life was my blog," Ezekiel said. "I used to fix systems before my own crashed." For a second, something flickered in her eyes. Curiosity? Pity? It vanished quickly. She flicked an imaginary speck from her sleeve and opened the SUV door. "Let's go," she told her driver. "We're late." The car refused to start. The driver tried again. Silence. Rita's eyebrows rose like a drama soundtrack. She shot the driver a glare that could melt steel. "Why isn't it starting?" "Ma, I don't know, Ma." "Of course you don't." Ezekiel cleared his throat. "The battery head is loose." The driver blinked. "Sir?" "Your lights were dim when you parked," Ezekiel said. "Pop the hood." Rita stared at him as if he'd said he could read the clouds. Still she gestured. The driver opened the bonnet. Ezekiel reached in, tightened a trembling clamp with his bare fingers, wiped grease on his trousers and nodded. "Try again." The engine purred like a cat that finally found a warm lap. The driver looked impressed. Rita didn't. "Thank you," she said, like a person forced to apologize for winning. Then sharper. "But next time, don't interrupt my calls." Ezekiel smiled unbothered. "No vex, Ma. I only interrupt disasters." Rita's eyes narrowed. "I'm not a disaster." "Of course not," he said. "But that message on your phone is." She slid into the back seat. Before the door closed, Blessing stepped forward, brave and small. "Auntie, my daddy helps people, even when they don't smile." Rita's gaze softened an inch. "What's your name?" "Blessing," she said, beaming. Rita nodded once, as if approving a contract, then disappeared into the SUV. The door shut. The car moved. They watched the taillights merge with traffic. Blessing looked up. "Daddy, why was Auntie angry?" "Some people wear heavy crowns," he said. "It presses their face." "Will she be okay?" Ezekiel glanced at the bridge pillars, the city, the buzzing phone that wasn't his. He hoped his words had landed. He hoped pride wouldn't choke wisdom. "Maybe," he said, "if she calls the right number." They gathered their few belongings. He brushed Blessing's hair with his fingers and tied the scarf she loved. The yellow one with tiny stars. "Breakfast mission?" he asked. "Puff puff," she declared. "As you wish, your majesty." They walked toward the food stalls, father and daughter. Light on money, but heavy with laughter. Behind them, the world kept moving. Danfo horns, market shouts, a city learning and forgetting the same lessons every day. Halfway to the Accra stand, Ezekiel's mind circled back to the message on Rita's phone. The spelling, the urgency, the hook. He'd seen it too many times. People trusting the wrong voice because the right one spoke from under a bridge. He exhaled. "Pride no day pay rent," he muttered. Then he squeezed Blessing's hand. "But we will pay our own one day. Big house, big kitchen, bigger pot of jollof." Blessing giggled. "An ice cream?" "2 spoons," he promised. Across town, a phone buzzed again in the back of a black SUV. Final warning. Send verification code to restore full access. Rita stared at it, chin lifted, pride straightening her back like steel. Her thumb hovered. She remembered the man's calm voice. "If they are real bankers, they won't pressure you on SMS. Call the number on your card. The code is for you, not for them." She hissed, shoved the phone into her purse, and told the driver, head to the office. The day had started with thunder under a bridge and gold earrings in a hurry. It would end with bigger storms. But for now, the city took a breath, and somewhere between arrogance and advice, the first seed of change slid quietly into the soil. Rita's office sat on the third floor of a glass building in Suralire. From the outside, it looked like success. Bold signboard, tinted windows, cars in the parking lot. But inside it felt like a frying pan with no oil. The air conditioners were off. NEPA had struck again, and diesel money was low. Staff shuffled papers like they were shuffling problems. Phones kept ringing, suppliers kept calling, and the words delayed payment floated around like flies. Rita, however, refused to let her face betray the fire in her kitchen. She sat behind her mahogany desk in a red blazer sharp enough to cut onions, nails freshly polished, head high. To her workers, she was still Madam CEO. To herself, she was fighting shadows. Her accountant, a short man with glasses always sliding off his nose, stood before her trembling. "Ma, if we don't settle the contractor this week, they might pull out." Rita's eyes narrowed. "Then they can pull out and go to hell. This company has survived worse." "But Ma, enough, Colonel. Do I look like someone who will let small boys with invoices shake me? Tell them to wait." Her phone buzzed. A new message popped up. She frowned, grabbed it, and read aloud. "Urgent. Your corporate account has been flagged for suspicious activity. Reply with your 6-digit verification code immediately to avoid permanent closure." She exhaled sharply. "See? This is what I was telling the bank people. They can't even manage a simple account." She turned the phone around so her staff could see. Colonel scratched his head. "Ma, are you sure this is?" "Colonel, please. I didn't hire you to question me. I'll reply to them." And with the speed of arrogance, Rita typed the digits that had just arrived in her SMS inbox. Just as she hit send, Colonel gasped. "Ma, wait. That doesn't look like." "Relax. You think I don't know my bank?" She waved him off. "Honestly, you people should learn from me. Confidence is everything." 5 minutes later, her email dinged. Then her phone buzzed again. Another message appeared. "Nigerian IRA 8,200,000 has been debited from your corporate account. Thank you for banking with us." The office froze. You could hear a pin drop. If anyone had the courage to breathe. Rita shot up from her chair, face bleaching into panic. "What? No. That's impossible. Colonel, check the account. Now." Colonel tapped at his laptop, muttering prayers under his breath. After a moment, he looked up face pale. "Ma, it's true. The account is empty." "What?" Her voice cracked like glass. 8 million naira? Just like that. Her staff exchanged nervous glances. Someone whispered, "Maybe it was fraud." Rita slammed her palm on the desk. "Fraud? From my own bank? Do they think I'm a fool?" Inside, though, her heart was hammering. The words of the man under the bridge returned uninvited. "If they are real bankers, they won't pressure you on SMS. Don't share the code." She shoved the thought away, pacing like a lioness. "Call the bank. Call them now. We'll sue them. We'll fight." But the bank line played music, then apologies. Too late. By evening, Rita sat alone in her office, blazer tossed on the chair, her perfect makeup smudged by sweat and anger. She muttered to herself, "How did this happen? 8 million gone. Payroll is Monday. Contractors will pull out. My company, my father's legacy, will sink." She buried her face in her hands. For the first time, Madam CEO looked small. Outside the building, traffic roared and streetlights blinked awake. At the gate, a familiar figure leaned casually on the fence. Ezekiel. Blessing sat cross-legged beside him, nibbling puff-puff like it was a banquet. Rita spotted them on her way out. Her eyes narrowed. You again? Ezekiel smiled, almost kindly. Evening, madam. How market? Market is none of your business. He raised an eyebrow. So the account no lose weight today? Her jaw tightened. How did you? He chuckled. Scam messages always come like that. You sent the code, ABI? Her nostrils flared. You don't know what you're talking about. And if you do, mind your own miserable life. Blessing looked up, puff in hand. Auntie, don't be angry. Daddy was only trying to help. Rita's throat constricted, but her pride stood guard. Tell your father to help himself first. She marched toward her SUV, fumbling for her keys. Ezekiel called after her. Madam, Pride no day refund money. When you're ready, I'll still be here. Bridge no day move. She stopped. Just for a moment. The words stung because they rang true. But she refused to turn back. She yanked open her car door, slammed it shut, and drove off with headlights that cut too sharply into the night. Blessing watched the taillights fade. Daddy, why is Auntie always angry? Ezekiel exhaled, long and tired. Because sometimes, anger is the only coat people have when the cold of failure blows. Will she listen to you one day? Maybe, he said softly, when the cold gets too much. As they walked back toward the bridge, Rita's voice echoed in her own car. 8 million naira gone. She gripped the steering wheel till her knuckles whitened. For the first time, doubt sat beside her like an uninvited passenger. And far away under the bridge, a man who had nothing already knew he would end up saving the woman who thought she had everything. By Monday morning, Rita's company was a battlefield without guns. Staff clustered in corners whispering. Suppliers called back to back, and Cunnell the accountant walked around like he was already polishing his CV. The office printer jammed, the internet crawled, and somehow even the ceiling fan chose that moment to stop spinning. Everything that could go wrong had signed a union. Rita, however, sat at her desk in a navy suit, shoulders straight, eyes blazing. She was falling apart inside, but no one in that office was going to see it. She picked up her phone and dialed yet another bank help desk. The line hummed, then disconnected. She slammed the phone down. Cunnell, she barked. Yes, ma, he stuttered, nearly dropping his calculator. Did payroll go through? He shook his head miserably. Ma, there is no money in the account. Her jaw clenched. Then borrow cents and find some. But cents could not pay salaries. By afternoon, 2 angry staff stormed her office. Madam, our children need food. If we don't get our salary this week, we are leaving. Rita rose to her full height, arms crossed. Then leave. This is a company, not an orphanage. They left, muttering. Rita sank back into her chair, pressing her palms into her eyes. Her late father had built this business from scratch. And here she was, about to bury it under arrogance and a scam text. Her phone buzzed again. Another reminder. Outstanding contractor payment due. She let out a bitter laugh. Outstanding? My whole life is outstanding debt right now. She reached for her water bottle and froze. A shadow darkened her glass wall. She turned and nearly screamed. It was him, Ezekiel, standing at the reception desk in his worn shirt, Blessing clutching his hand. He looked painfully out of place among the polished shoes and perfume of the corporate world. The receptionist frowned. Madam, this man insists on seeing you. Rita shot daggers with her eyes. Tell him to leave before I call security. But Ezekiel spoke, calm and steady. Madam, you can call security, or you can call sense. One will throw me out, the other might save your company. Her staff exchanged shocked looks. No one had ever spoken to Rita like that and lived. She marched to the door, heels clicking like war drums. What nonsense! Who do you think you are? He tilted his head. Someone who warned you before 8 million vanished. Someone who knows how to get it back. For a split second, silence stretched between them. Even Rita's pride felt cornered. She glanced at the receptionist, then back at him. "Fine," she hissed. 10 minutes. If you're lying, I'll have you arrested for trespassing." Inside her office, she folded her arms tightly. "Talk." Ezekiel sat, balancing Blessing on his lap. "Madam, the people who scammed you are not ghosts. They use patterns. I know those patterns. If you give me access to your emails, I can trace them." Her eyebrow arched. "You? A man who lives under a bridge?" He smiled faintly. "Even bridges carry network, Ma." Blessing giggled. Rita rolled her eyes, but something in her chest cracked. Maybe desperation, maybe curiosity. She shoved her laptop toward him. "Fine. Impress me." Ezekiel's fingers flew across the keyboard. He navigated past phishing links, flagged fake domains, and pulled out transaction trails like a magician pulling scarves. Rita leaned in despite herself. "How do you know all this?" "I studied computer engineering before life removed the chair under me," he said simply. "Lost my job, lost my house, but didn't lose my brain." Within minutes, he showed her the scammer's IP trail. "See? They're not even in Lagos. They're operating from a cafe in Port Harcourt." Rita gasped. "You mean we can report them?" "Not just report. I can lock their access, secure your systems, and help recover some funds. But you must stop replying to messages like you're chatting with suitors on WhatsApp." She glared, offended. "Are you calling me foolish?" He shrugged. "If the shoe fits, wear it. Just don't let them steal the shoebox too." For the first time, Rita laughed, short, grudging, but real. She covered it quickly with a cough. "What will it take?" she asked. "Trust," Ezekiel replied. "And maybe a hot plate of rice for my daughter while I work." Rita stared at Blessing, who smiled sweetly and waved. Something in Rita's heart twisted. She remembered her own son, Junior, waiting at home with a nanny, asking, "Mummy, when will you be done working?" She exhaled. "Fine, you'll eat." Ezekiel grinned. "Then your company will breathe again." That night, under the fluorescent light of Rita's office, a homeless man in worn shoes typed codes that rebuilt a company. Rita sat across from him, pride and gratitude wrestling in her chest. For the first time in a long while, she wasn't the one giving orders. She was the one learning. And though she would never admit it out loud, she felt something strange stirring: respect. If someone had told Rita last week that a man who bathed at a public tap and slept under a bridge would one day sit inside her boardroom, she would have laughed them out of her office. But life has a way of serving humble pie without invitation. Ezekiel arrived at her company the next morning in the same faded shirt and dusty sneakers, holding Blessing's hand. Heads turned. Staff whispered. One cleaner murmured, "Nahu bring mechanic enter boardroom?" But Rita's sharp heels announced her arrival before her voice did. She strutted in, hair slicked back, navy skirt suit fitted like armor. "Good morning," she said crisply. "This is Mr. Ezekiel. He will be working with us as our IT consultant." You could almost hear the collective gasp. Cunnell adjusted his glasses, mouth open. One secretary choked on her chewing gum. The receptionist muttered, "Consultant Ko?" Rita's eyes narrowed. "Does anyone have a problem with that?" Silence. Nobody wanted to become her next breakfast. Good. Then let's get to work. Later that day, Rita held a staff meeting. The long mahogany table was covered with files and laptops, but Ezekiel sat casually at the far end with Blessing perched beside him coloring on scrap paper. One manager coughed. "Madam, with all due respect, is it wise to bring an outsider?" Rita's tone was ice. "If this outsider can save what your degrees failed to save, then yes." Ezekiel leaned back, smiling. "Relax. I'm not here to steal your jobs. Just your passwords." The staff looked horrified until Blessing giggled. Ezekiel winked. Kidding. Rita glared. Can you please act professional? He scratched his chin. Madam, my profession is survival. This is me in suit already. The staff burst out laughing. Rita's nostrils flared, but even she bit back a smile. By midweek, things started to change. Ezekiel installed firewalls, cleaned up their email servers, and taught the staff how to spot scam mails. He moved with confidence, typing as if the computer belonged to his fingers. At first, Rita barked orders at him like she did with everyone. Ezekiel, don't touch that. Ezekiel, fix this faster. Ezekiel, do you even know what you're doing? He would grin unfazed. Madam, if I didn't know what I was doing, your office chair would already be at Tejuosho Market by now. Her lips twitched. She hated that he could make her laugh in the middle of a crisis. In the evenings, while Rita worked late, Blessing and Rita's son, Junior, played together in the office lounge. Junior, who was shy and often lonely, found a new partner in crime. Blessing taught him clapping games, and he shared his meat pie with her. One night, Rita peeked in and saw them giggling on the carpet. For the first time in weeks, her son's laughter filled the room. Her chest softened, though her face stayed stern. Ezekiel appeared beside her quietly. Children no day, no pride. That's why they're happier than us. She glanced at him, lips pressed tight. You think I'm proud? He shrugged. I think you wear pride like perfume. Too strong. But underneath, you're just scared. Rita bristled. You don't know me. He looked at her steadily. I know fear when I see it. It's the only thing that keeps people awake at 2 a.m. while pretending to be strong at 8 a.m. She swallowed. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Not Cunnel, not her staff, not even her late father. The real turning point came on Friday. A major contractor, furious about delayed payments, stormed into the office threatening to pull out. Rita tried to reason, but the man shouted, Madam, this is the last straw. Ezekiel stepped forward calmly. Olga, check your email. Right now. Confused, the contractor pulled out his phone. His eyes widened. Refund alert? Yes, sir, Ezekiel said smoothly. We secured your earlier payment from the scammers. Half of it is already back in your account. The rest will follow next week. All thanks to our new system. The man's anger melted into relief. Madam Rita, you are trying. We will continue our contract. He shook Ezekiel's hand, then left. When the door closed, the entire office erupted in applause. Staff clapped. Cunnel nearly hugged him, and Blessing jumped up shouting, My daddy is the best! Rita's face turned red, not with anger this time, but with something else. Pride, yes, but not the arrogant kind. The kind that comes when you realize you almost lost it all, and someone you despised became your shield. She cleared her throat. All right, back to work. Don't celebrate too much. But her eyes lingered on Ezekiel longer than usual. That night, as the office emptied, Rita found herself alone with him again. She hesitated, then said softly, Thank you. I mean, really, thank you. Ezekiel grinned. Careful, madam. If you say it too loud, people will think you like me. She scoffed, rolling her eyes. Don't flatter yourself. But when she turned away, the ghost of a smile played on her lips. And for the first time since her father's death, Rita realized she wasn't carrying the weight of the company alone. 2 months later, the story of Rita's company had turned from about to collapse to rising phoenix. New contracts rolled in, old clients returned, and the office atmosphere transformed from tension to celebration. Where there had once been whispers of staff resignations, now there was laughter in the corridors. Even Cunnel, the nervous accountant, walked taller. And at the center of it all was the man nobody had believed in, Ezekiel. The boardroom looked different now. Balloons hung from the ceiling, trays of small chops covered the long table, and bottles of malt clinked against plastic cups. Staff were buzzing, waiting for Madam CEO to speak. Rita entered in a green ochre gown that shimmered under the fluorescent light. Her heels clicked, but this time there was no arrogance in the sound. Only confidence. She looked around the room, her eyes softening when they landed on Ezekiel and Blessing. Clearing her throat, she began. 2 months ago, this company was drowning. We had lost money, lost trust, and lost hope. I was ready to watch my father's legacy disappear. Her voice faltered slightly, but she steadied it. Then, someone unexpected stepped in. Staff leaned forward. Rita turned toward Ezekiel. This man you see, this man you all mocked when he first walked in, saved us. Without him, there would be no company today. The room exploded with applause. Blessing clapped so hard her hands turned red, while Junior cheered beside her. Ezekiel grinned sheepishly. Nah, small thing, nah. I just pressed keyboard. Everyone laughed. Rita shook her head, smiling. Only you would call saving millions a small thing. Later, when the celebration wound down and staff drifted home, Rita found herself standing on the office balcony with Ezekiel. Legos stretched before them. Honking Danfos, flashing billboards, and the distant hum of life. She exhaled. You know, I used to think asking for help meant weakness. That pride was the only armor I had left. She paused. But you showed me that strength can wear dust on its shoes and still shine brighter than gold earrings. Ezekiel chuckled. Madam, are you complimenting me? Let me record this moment before Nipa takes light. She rolled her eyes, but her smile betrayed her. Don't push your luck. Then her tone softened. Thank you, Ezekiel, for everything, for saving my company, and for reminding me what really matters. The next weekend, Rita invited Ezekiel and Blessing to her house for dinner. Her mansion, once too quiet, now echoed with children's laughter. Junior and Blessing ran through the living room with toy cars, their joy filling every corner. In the dining room, Rita served jollof rice and grilled chicken. I promised you a hot plate of rice, remember? She said, setting Ezekiel's dish. He grinned. Madam, keep this up and I might move from bridge to palace. Rita's laughter rang out, genuine and warm. For the first time in years, she felt like more than just a CEO. She felt like a woman, alive, hopeful, open. After dinner, as the children dozed on the couch, Rita and Ezekiel sat together, the night calm around them. You know, she said slowly, I thought money was everything, but watching Blessing and Junior play together, I realize what I really want is a family that laughs like that every day. Ezekiel looked at her, eyes steady. Family isn't about money. It's about who stays when the money is gone. Her chest tightened. She reached for his hand. Then maybe we can stay. Blessing stirred in her sleep and mumbled. Daddy, are we rich now? Ezekiel smiled, squeezing Rita's hand gently. Yes, my star. Rich in the only way that matters. Weeks later, at the company's official relaunch, Rita stood proudly at the podium, Ezekiel beside her. Junior and Blessing waved from the front row. Cameras flashed, staff cheered, and Rita's voice carried strong. This is not just a company anymore. It's a family. And every family needs courage, wisdom, and a little humility. We found all three in the most unexpected place. Ezekiel leaned toward her, whispering with a mischievous grin. Madam, I know day scam, but I go scam you into happiness. Rita laughed so loudly the crowd joined in, though none of them knew the joke. She looked at him, her eyes shining. Then consider me scammed. Hand in hand, they walked off the stage, their children running ahead, a new family stepping boldly into tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.